Hi, welcome to my first video of the Dana and Dog cast, where we will be talking about dog things, animal things, and things that don't have anything to do with animals. This is Gunner. He's my co-host, and he's my baby. And I decided for my first video for the podcast, I would do kind of a story time of my experience with rescuing a dog from a dog shelter. But yeah, so I'll start off with my history with animals. So I haven't had a lot of pets until Gunner, and we also rescued a cat with him. But I've had experience with like other animals. Like I've been riding horses since I was 7. I have a family friend who literally lets me just go out there and ride, and it's awesome. She's super nice, and I take lessons there too. And we also had a husky when I was really young, and that was my mom's dog. And that's why I feel like it took us so long to get another dog, was because she got really attached to her dog, and when her dog died, then she never wanted an animal ever again. But yeah, so when we got Gunner, it was in between my freshman and sophomore year. It was summer vacation between then, and I think that was 3 years ago. I'm really bad with like dates, but anyway, so he was 2.5, almost 3 at the time. And the reason why we got a dog was because I was kind of in a weird time in my life, and I had like a lot of anxiety. I was really nervous. I wasn't confident in myself, and so the doctors were like, oh, well, you have her take medication, but my parents didn't want me to take medication, and I didn't want to take medication either, so they decided on me getting a dog. So immediately when I found out there was a little ray of hope finding a dog, I looked through all the shelters near us, like on their websites, to look at like pictures, and like they have descriptions of like the dog's like personality, and I saw Gunner. And I saw his picture, and I was like, that's gonna be my dog. My parents, they were like, don't get too set on him, like he might not be the dog, but I could, all I could think of was him. Like he was going to be my dog. That's like how it was. I saw him, and it was that, like I was stuck. They encouraged me to look at other dogs, and I tried, but I just didn't get the same feeling that I did when I saw Gunner. But yeah, so then we called the shelter, and they said he was still up for adoption. No one was interested in him, and we got there. And let me tell you, this guy right here, this man was a hot mess. We went into like the meeting room. He was so crazy. He was jumping. All he wanted to do was bite on your clothes, bite on you, and just wanted to play. He was crazy. But I was like, it's too late. I'm set on him being my dog, even though like in the back of my mind I'm like, am I making the right choice? You know? I had a little bit of doubt, but so then we actually weren't able to adopt him that day because my dad was out of town, and they said you needed to have every family member be able to meet your dog like before you can adopt him. So we came back a week later, but the week in between meeting Gunner was the longest week of my life. Oh my goodness, I was so ready to have a dog. And I even in between this, I made an Instagram for him, like in between the week before we even adopted him, because I'm like, yeah, he's going to be my dog. Like, there is no like other option. And yeah, so his name before we adopted him was Heath, like a candy bar, the Heath bar. But that's really hard for me to say, and it just at the time didn't suit him because he was just so crazy and energetic and just all over the place. So I decided, he's my dog, I decided to name him Gunner. Like, I was set on that. And the people in the shelter thought he was, like, that name really suited him, and they thought it was really cool. And the lady who really helped us, oh my goodness, she is so cool. she actually added me as a friend on Facebook, and if when I post videos of like training him and stuff, she'll comment and be like, oh, he couldn't have gotten a better home, and it makes me really happy that I'm like doing my best to give him the best place possible. Gunner, you can't sleep on camera, come here. But yeah, so then we brought him, oh my goodness, so when we brought him home, we had to give him a ride home, and at the time we didn't have like a truck or like a vehicle with a big trunk to like fit a kennel for him in, and well, I normally don't have him kenneled either way when I take him for rides because he is so good for rides, but this dog, first thing he does when we get him, he's jumping around, he's pulling, he's crazy, he scratches our car and messes up the paint. Oh my goodness. So my dad was not very set on him after that. He had a lot of judgment. And so he was by no means like, he wanted to make people happy. Like, I could tell. He is not an aggressive dog, but he's an ADHD dog. He had very no impulse control whatsoever. So he would just, what I call it now, I call it shelter dog mode. Whenever anything new happened, or if he was energetic, he would go into shelter dog mode, where he would jump and bark and like bite on stuff and like pull on your clothes. And he used to do that all the time when we first got him. And I know it really frustrated my parents and stuff because of it. And for me, it was frustrating too, because when a dog is acting like that, you can't like give them love and affection, because that's going to encourage that behavior, because they're going to be like, oh, shelter dog mode equals praise. And Gunner was in a shelter for 2 years. So for 2 years, shelter dog mode for him equaled praise. And those are like the two like staple years of his life where like he was still a puppy, So he still has that problem sometimes if he's like in a very new, very overwhelming environment. But for the most part, he's like this all the time. He's a mush, right? You mush. You mush. I love you. But yeah, so anyway, oh, you're falling. But yeah, so for those like first 2 weeks, he wasn't even technically our dog. We were like, it was just like a test run, making sure that our house was good enough for him. And those are the most stressful 2 weeks of my life, because this place, it was new to him. Everything was so new. He spent 2 years in a shelter. The home environment was foreign to him. He wasn't used to it. And I know it frustrated my parents, because he was crazy. Like, he was very crazy. And I was like, in between those 2 weeks, I'm like so nervous. I'm like, I already loved him. I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't give him back. Like, what if my parents decide that like he's not like doing good enough, he's not gonna be fitting into this house? I was so nervous. And so I tried my best to teach him what I could, but it was mostly like, the no jumping thing and the like no pulling on the leash thing. Those are like the two things that I worked on with him first. Like, manners. So my parents were frustrated that he didn't know how to sit and lay down. And I'm like, well, first he needs to learn how to have manners before he learns any tricks. And now he knows so many tricks. Like, it just took us a couple of months before we could get to that stage. I think it took around 6 months before he started just to be himself. Like, I think the thing that gave me the most, like, hope in him was, yeah, most of the time he was crazy and jumping and all this stuff. Like, he had these moments where he just would be calm, and I would be like, oh, so this is who you really are. And he'd just want love, and he just wanted to, like, lay on you and be petted and loved, because that's what he wants. He is a snuggle bug. He is my mushy man, but also the most athletic dog I've ever met. Oh my goodness. He can jump like higher than me. I'm 5'8". He's jumped so that his feet like are at my eye level. It's crazy. I'm like, he's almost 6 and he still jumps like that. It makes me worried. But he's just such an energetic, happy-go-lucky guy. He'll wake up every morning, tail wagging, just happy to see me. I'll say, "Good morning, Gunner," and he'll just be delighted. Best thing ever. And then he'll go back to sleep after he gets his breakfast. But yeah, so the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't have a lot of videos of how Gunner was before he, like, you know, was acting himself. But there's so many, like, failures with people rescuing a dog and going, "Oh my gosh, this is too much for me to handle." Like, it's literally happened in my family before, where people, like, would rescue, not in my family, but, like, extended family. People would rescue a dog and then they'd have it for like 2 days and then be like, "Oh no, I can't handle this." And I'm like, you didn't even give it a chance to show you what it's really like. You know? So the reason why I'm doing this as my first podcast topic is because Gunner is by no means perfect. Like, he is a living being. We all have flaws. And I don't put, like, his flaws on the internet because, like, I'm trying my best. He's trying his best. And I don't need other people's criticism. But also because of that, no one's seeing, like, the bad parts of him either. So I'll post videos of me training him on, like, Facebook and stuff, and everyone will go, "Oh wow, he's so talented and smart, you got so lucky with your dog." And they don't realize that I put in hours of training every single day, every week, for months to get him to be the balanced dog that he is. And I feel like that's why so many people fail with adopting dogs, is because they don't understand that it takes a lot of effort and time, especially a dog like Gunner, where he has baggage. Like, his first home, before, like, he was in the shelter system for like 2.5 years, they had 2 older labs, a bunch of cats, and they were older people. And then I think he was, like, hit by papers. They used papers to scold him. So even now, if you move too fast, he'll sometimes flinch, even though, like, I would never, you know? Because that was his puppy year, the staple, like, of his, where everything is set in stone, you know? Like, it's just, and he's very, I wouldn't say reactive, it's just he loves people and dogs so much that sometimes, even though he knows not to go into shelter dog mode, sometimes he will, and, like, he's trying not to. You can tell he'll, like, look away and pretend they don't exist, but sometimes he just is so overwhelmed and he can't handle that. Like, and I've had him for 3 years now, but that's okay. I don't expect perfection from him because he's still improving. Like, I entered him in competitions for beginner's obedience and beginner's rally, and we did very well. It just takes a lot of work. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't understand with rescuing dogs. It takes a lot of work. And I know I feel like I'm really repeating myself here, but for my videos to come, I want people to know right off the bat that Gunner isn't perfect, but he's the perfect dog for me, you know? He's, like, even though he's not, like, knows everything offhand, like, I'll tell him to go sit and he'll think I want him to, like, spin sometimes or roll over. He gets confused because he just really wants to make me happy. But, like, for the most part, he always tries his best. And that's all I want from him, really, is I want his effort and I want him to have a good time with whatever we're doing. So, yeah. This is me. I am Dana. This is Gunner. And we're gonna be making videos and having a good time, hopefully, in the future. I have a lot of plans of what to do. It's just finding time. I'm in college right now. But this has been a dream of mine. I just, I am by no means a professional, but I want to share what I know, and I want to learn. So I'm still learning, like very much learning, but I'm going to try my best in everything, and if I make a mistake, I'm going to learn from my mistake, and hopefully you enjoy the video and enjoy hanging out with me and Gunner, and we all can just have a good time. And yeah, so I'll put Gunner's Instagram and TikTok in the description down below if you want to check out his videos. And I'm sorry, I'm literally like kind of a mess right now. I was painting today. I was painting my house today, so yeah, that's why my hair's there's paint in my hair and paint on my face. I'm sorry, but I've been meaning to make this like first podcast story time video, whatever we want to call it, for a long time, and I've been putting my thoughts together, and I decided today was going to be the day. So even though I might not be looking the best, I just really wanted to talk about my experience with rescuing my best friend. But yeah, so thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and Gunner loves you very much, and I hope you all have a good day or night or whatever time of the day it is, and maybe if you want, you can subscribe and we can hang out again sometime. Alright, bye! Bye!